I don't like to brag, but I am very good at predictions. I am called the king of predictions for a reason.
Prediction?
And because of that, there have been comments left and right. Tack, when are you going to do a predictions video for the World Cup? We need another one. We're like less than a month away. I need to know what you're thinking. Who's going to win it? Which team will flop? How bad is England going to lose in the quarterfinals to Brazil? What is going to happen with the United States? So today, we are going to be doing that. We're going to do a predictions video. However, I have two guests, very good guests that are even better than myself with their predictions. Hello. If you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV. And welcome to the most accurate 2026 World Cup predictions that you will find on YouTube.
Believe me.
Because I have developed this method that just kills biases, right? This video will have zero biases, and let me tell you why. The two guests that we have today are Adrian from FuboTV and Isaac. Great YouTubers, great channels that are going to be covering the World Cup. Make sure you subscribe to them. If you're not, you're missing out. So what we're going to do is we put all the scores for the group stage and we're going to go through them. After that, we're going to go to the knockout rounds where we have not looked at the bracket yet while we're recording this. And in the knockout rounds, we're going to have to vote. We're three, so we have to vote on which team will advance. And each one of us has one veto. So if we lose the vote, we can veto it once to have that team advance. Why are we doing this? This is the best way to try to eliminate biases, which is why this is the most accurate predictions video you will find out there. And understand that the results you're going to see that we're going to go through in the group stage, we have agreed upon it before the video. So during the group stage, you are going to see us agreeing a lot. It's in the knockout rounds that we start to argue back and forth and have different opinions. So I'll put timestamps. If you want to skip the group stage, go ahead, do whatever you want. I would go through it because it has some important takes and the results of it. But again, group stage, we agree a lot because we have already agreed on the results. Knockout rounds, that's where we fight. And this video is brought to you by Monarch, but more on that later. Right now, what you're going to do is drop a like in this video if you haven't already, because I will not be asking during the recording, so just do it right now. And let us know in the comment section down below, do you agree with our predictions? Yes or no? And if you don't, try to be kind. Let's roll the intro and bring our guests. All right, everyone, we have another ultimate World Cup predictions where we do it almost as a game to make it as fair as possible and remove everyone's biases, because we all have biases. There's no way around that. So for that, I bring Adrian from FuboTV and Isaac, HRVZak. Did I pronounce it right? It's HRVZak.
Exactly.
So,
Perfect.
guys, welcome back. We actually did this in 2022. We already have the group stage results that we already plugged in. We're going to go through them. And then the knockout rounds, we vote on each one that advances. We're three, so always 2 against 1 or 3 against no one. And then you all of us have one veto. So if we vote and you disagree, you can veto once in the knockout rounds. Okay, so be smart about it. How are you guys doing, by the way?
Good.
Doing well. Yeah, doing well. Excited for this.
All right, so let's go through the group stage here, and I'll give you guys the mic on many of these occasions here. We have Group A. We already plugged in the results that we believe will happen, and we had Mexico finishing first, the Czech Republic, or how do I pronounce it? Chechnya?
Czechia.
Czechia in second, South Korea in third, and South Africa in fourth. One thing about this group that I want to tell everyone right now, don't expect a lot of goals in this group. I don't think that's going to happen, and you have one of the host nations, Mexico. Any thoughts on this group that you guys want to share before we advance? And everyone, you can all look on screen on the results that we plugged in. Adrian, go first, and Isaac.
Yeah, so I usually ride for South Africa. I love the South Africans in my community. But I do think that they're going to be very entertaining, but just unable to get results over the line. And Czechia is a team that I personally always sort of underestimate, and they always do better than I think. So I think that they're going to show up, be difficult to play against, and make it through in second behind host Mexico.
Isaac.
Yeah, I think this group is wide open for anybody. Before I was really on that South Africa hype train, but I'm definitely dialing down a bit. I completely agree with Adrian. I think they will make this group really, really entertaining. They'll play some great, attractive football, but the results won't convert at the end. I think it's a toss-up between them and Korea, honestly, for that third place spot. But I think Czechia and Mexico will be the ones to kind of take control of this group.
Yeah, and I'll say one thing. Czechia, they eliminated Denmark to get here. That is a very tough team. Honestly, Denmark, in my opinion, is better than all other teams in this group. So we have to keep that in mind when talking about it. So based on the results that we plugged in with very low scoring games for the most part, Mexico tops the group with 7 points, which might be a bit of a surprise to many of the Mexican fans. But I think it can happen. Host nation, they have a decent team. Czechia, South Korea has been super inconsistent this cycle. Started with Jurgen Klinsmann. That was a mess. Right now, it's still a bit of a mess. We don't know what to expect don't know what to expect from them. And also their best player, Son, still quality, but definitely past his prime now in Major League Soccer. South Africa, I don't trust them. Now, Group B. Adrian, your country, Canada. We had Switzerland first, Bosnia, that took Italy's spot. Italy needs to stop boycotting World Cup, guys. It's getting crazy. Canada in third, and Qatar in fourth. We're going to check very soon if Canada advances or not in third place. But Adrian, it's your country. Take the mic here.
Yeah, I think that just with all of the injuries that Canada has and sort of the question mark over Alphonso Davies now, even who just cannot keep that hamstring together, it's going to take some of the quality out of this Canadian side, which is a shame. But I do think that there's a lot of trust in Jesse Marsh still, and that Canada will play well in front of their home country. So I think that they'll do just enough to potentially get through in third place. Between them and Bosnia, as you can see, it's difficult to split them. But with Qatar, I think we were all in agreement that they were the weakest of the four teams here.
Isaac?
Yeah, I think it's really a toss-up between Bosnia and Canada. I'm seeing from both sides, each of these sets of fans are like optimistic going into that opening match, which I think they have every right to be, but I think it's going to be really down to the wire. So I definitely see both these sides getting one win, one draw, one loss, and Switzerland's probably going to boss this group, let's be real.
So basically, for Canada and Bosnia, it comes down to who loses by less goals to Switzerland and who trashes or scores more goals in Qatar.
Feels
Basically,
like that way, yeah.
Yeah.
Qatar is looking like the punching bag again in the World Cup, which is kind of bizarre because they won the last two Asian Cups. If anyone can explain that to me, try to make sense out of it. I don't think you guys can. Maybe I need to bring Jack from Deadball TV that passionately watches Asian soccer, and maybe he'll have an explanation. But I don't understand how this team wins the Asian Cup 2 times in a row, where you have countries like Japan or South Korea that we talked about as well, Iran, and then they win it and they come into the World Cup, and we all expect them to get trashed, which it very likely will happen. So
That's
Switzerland
crazy.
first, Bosnia second, Canada third, Qatar fourth. Any more thoughts on these two groups? Can I move on?
I was just gonna say, adding to your point with Qatar, yeah, it is wild because they didn't even do that well in the World Cup qualifiers, despite qualifying, but they got blown out like in quite a few matches, like 3-0 results to Uzbekistan, even conceding 3 to Kyrgyzstan. So I don't really trust them in that group.
No, the quality's probably just not there. And they were placed in a group where those are tough teams because Canada, under Marsh and the players they have, the playing style fits, and Canada's at home. Switzerland's a very tough team for any even World Cup contenders will struggle with Switzerland. And then Bosnia is just one of those teams that you may have a better team than them, but they're never easy. And Qatar does not have a better team than them. So good luck to them. Group C, Brazil, Morocco, Scotland, and Haiti. We had Brazil topping the group with 7 points, Morocco in second with 5, Scotland in third. Welcome back to the World Cup, Scotland, with 4 points, and Haiti with 0. I'll talk briefly about this group because I when we were putting the results, I had a lot of thoughts on it. Brazil's first game, we agreed on a draw, and I explained to them off camera about this. The way I'm seeing this first game is Ancelotti knows he needs to not win this first game. The second game is Haiti, and Brazil pull a win there. In Morocco, there's going to be more pressure on them this World Cup because they made it to the semifinals, and they're still playing Brazil. So ultimately for Morocco, not losing to Brazil there, a draw is not a bad result. For Brazil, tie Morocco, not a bad result. I think this first game will be a draw. Now, everything else in the group is pretty self-explanatory. I think Scotland can put a tough game against Morocco. A 0-0 draw is not that crazy. That's what we put there. I think all teams will beat Haiti, and ultimately Scotland will lose to Brazil after Brazil gets their confidence up by beating Haiti. And I think Brazil tops the group, Morocco in second, Scotland in third. Now, could it flip-flop between Morocco and Scotland? Yes. but I'm pretty confident that the group will turn out this way. Adrian?
Yeah, I was just going to say the exact same thing. Like, someone could make an argument that Scotland will even win that game against Morocco, and I would totally be okay with that as well, which would see them going through in second. I just think that Morocco isn't as hot as perhaps they were coming out of that 2022 World Cup. And in qualifying, they didn't have the most difficult qualifying path. The previous African Cup of Nations, of course, everyone knows that what's happened there and how they are now the champions of Africa, apparently. And I didn't think that they really performed that great in that tournament. So, yeah, maybe Scotland could finish ahead of them, but either way, I'm totally fine with how this turned out. And Haiti, I hope that we at least see them score a goal, which we did not have in this prediction.
Yeah. Well, Isaac.
My only somewhat concern is Scotland don't have the best record in international tournaments. They've never made it to the knockouts before in any major one. So, but I think it's their time. I think that despite this being a difficult group, even if they can't pull off that draw to Morocco, like they should be able to defeat Haiti somewhat convincingly. So I think it's their time to finally do it.
Well, in this case, it kind of matches two things that you said. It's their time to do it, and they haven't done it in the past. Because if we didn't have an expanded World Cup, they would not advance in third place.
Exactly.
So it kind of goes both ways from what you said. They're not performing well enough to advance, but because of the expanded World Cup, they might advance with those 4 points. And then we reach Group D, which is probably the biggest enigma of this World Cup, where depending on who you ask, you can literally flip every single position in this group. To me, it's a weak group overall because you look at all 4 teams. I don't see a single team in this group that you would expect to make it even to the quarterfinals. I think every team that's here, you would probably go and say, hey, round of 16 seems like their ceiling. You could try to make a case for Turkey. I still don't think they're a quarterfinals team. You could try to put the host nation bump for the United States. Still don't think they make it past the round of 16 unless something crazy happens. And the way I think this group will play out is that there'll be very tight games. There'll be no blowout. I don't see it happening with any of the teams. And based on the results we plugged in, we had Turkey with Yıldız and Arda Güler finishing first with 7 points, which is quite good for them. The United States in second with 4, a win, a draw, and a loss. Paraguay in third with 3 points. Paraguay, that's a team that struggles outside of home games. And on top of that, very solid defense. I think Paraguay will struggle to score goals in the World Cup. And then Australia, try to remember recent times of Australia. This is probably one of the weakest Australias I have seen in my life. I'm not that old, but I think maybe following Australia a bit closer since 2006, right? That's around that time. And to me, this is not a very good Australian side. Now, mind you, I want to say one thing. The U.S. over the past 12 months has played against all 3 of these teams, where they lost to Turkey, they beat Paraguay, and they beat Australia. Now, mind you, they're friendlies. Teams rotate. So take it with a grain of salt, but I just think it's a little fun fact to throw out there. Adrian, this group.
I think that Australia is the one that I'm just kind of feeling, I guess, apprehensive about, just because even in the last World Cup, we saw how they didn't have the most smooth qualifying campaign with that crazy shootout and everything that happened for them to get into it. And then they did so well once they were actually in the World Cup, gave Argentina plenty of issues. So Australia, I mean, like you said, you can just sort of like shake up these teams and whatever comes out, I would believe you. Australia is just the one that I'm kind of keeping my eye on as far as our predictions go here. But other than that, I think that Turkey topping this group, yes. USA, yes. You could swap Paraguay and Australia around, but Paraguay with that defense, I think they'll probably just get through in third or maybe get through in third. We'll see.
Adrian, before I give it to Isaac, I have a question for you. Since you're the one here that is not American. I'm not going to ask this to Isaac. I don't think we both biased. I don't see Mexico getting grouped. We clearly put that. We put them topping the group. Canada, I think they won't get grouped because nothing's guaranteed, but they're pretty much guaranteed to win against Qatar. I think if they don't beat Qatar, it'll be ridiculous. And that means Canada needs to pull one draw or not get trashed, and they will likely advance. Hey, this is me interrupting myself. Now, Before we continue, we have a quick word from the sponsor of this video. Make sure to drop a like if you haven't already. Just do it right now in the video. We'll be back very soon. Do not go anywhere. It's very easy to overspend during the summer. Traveling, outdoor activities, and much more. You know, just living life in general. However, you can and you will stay financially responsible. And that's why today we are partnering up with Monarch, the best budgeting app of 2025, according to the Wall Street Journal and myself. And with our promo code TMTV, you get 50% off your first year at monarch.com with the promo code TMTV. Now, Monarch, what is it? It's the personal financial app that tracks everything for you. Your accounts, savings, investments, spending, whatever you want. You literally link all your accounts within minutes. It's very simple. And then you see your money organized with clean visuals and smart categorization. You can also even collaborate in the app with your partner or a financial advisor at no extra cost. It's very easy to use, trust me. And I started using it to keep track of my cash flow and spending. And honestly, this has been saving me time and money. It kept everything organized. I'm not using spreadsheets anymore. And you know, time is money. So it's actually saving me money twice. So head to monarch.com and use the promo code TMTV to get 50% off your first year. That is 50% off at monarch.com with the promo code TMTV. Thank you very much, Monarch, for sponsoring the channel. Do you see a scenario where the United States gets grouped here?
I don't think so. I mean, that would mean that you have to be one of the worst third place teams or finish bottom of the group, and I don't really see that happening. So I don't know that they will get grouped, but look, I mean, they've struggled in front of their home audiences before in major tournaments, so it could happen. The chances aren't zero, but under Pochettino, with the sort of trajectory that they're on now, I feel like the USA is going to be fine, probably in that top two.
Because I'll say one thing. If we just alter one result, the US is out. If we put Australia tying the US here with these other results that we put, they're out. So it's like literally one goal here that's getting the United States through. Now, obviously in the World Cup, that's very common, like one goal being the big difference maker. And the United States did get grouped in the 2024 Copa America in a group that wasn't that strong. Like Uruguay, fine, better than these teams, or maybe close to Turkey's level these days with Bielsa. But the other two teams were Bolivia, outside of the altitude, and Panama, and the U.S. finished in third place. So just keep that in mind. Now, Isaac, Group D, so we move on.
I really agree with Adrian in terms of feeling a bit bad about Australia putting them at the bottom, but that's just because this group is so down to the wire. I know you mentioned this isn't the strongest Australia squad, and while I do agree with that, I think that they still should feel optimistic in this group based on their previous results. And even in the World Cup qualifiers, they did really well. Their manager, Tony Popovic, is really solid. So I definitely want to keep my eye on them. I feel like it's safe to put them at the bottom, but it's just a side that I'm kind of afraid to rule out at the end because they have a lot of players that are doing pretty well in the championship. I know it's not the strongest team, but they play well as a unit sometimes. So I don't know. Maybe I could see them getting a win against one of these teams and squeezing through, but anything's possible in this group.
I mean, they overperformed last World Cup, as Adrian pointed out. So if you overperform there, even though the United States also used to be known for overperforming, and now we're known for underperforming. Group E. Okay, let's go through Group E. Germany in first with 7 points, Ecuador in second with 5, Ivory Coast in third with 4, and Curaçao with 0. Ecuador, best defense in CONMEBOL. Players like Moise Caicedo, William Pacho, Piero Hincapié from Arsenal, Estupinan from many good players with Ecuador. But they're rock solid on defense, and all the quality they have there, they lack up top. So as much as teams struggle to score against Ecuador, they struggle to score against everyone else. Ecuador finished in second in CONMEBOL in World Cup qualifying, even though, I don't know if you guys know this, they started with a negative 3 points because of a punishment they had. They still finished in second place. It's a very good team. Curaçao, God bless them, but similar to Haiti, they're here just to enjoy the vibes. A lot of Dutch dual nationals here and there that were not good enough for the Netherlands. They play okay team, but I think ultimately they'll lose every game. Ivory Coast, a bit of a hit or miss. I firmly believe what we have here of Ecuador advancing scoring only 3 goals and conceding only one, and Germany topping this group. Adrian, you can go first here on your thoughts. I don't have much more to add. The results kind of speak for themselves in this group.
Yeah, I think so. I think that Germany will be fine in the group stage. I don't think we'll see any repeats of the last couple of tournaments as far as their failures there. But I don't know how well they'll do outside of this. Cote d'Ivoire and Ecuador, pretty close. Hard to argue between those two, but I think ultimately Ecuador with that defense, as you pointed out, will get them through in second. And Curaçao, the blue wave, I just want to see them score a goal. Man, I want to see them score a goal as well. Yeah, this group, I think as you said, not much else to add to that.
Isaac.
I think that it's going to be really tight between Ecuador and Ivory Coast. I would definitely give Ecuador the slightest edge, but sometimes this side are allergic to scoring goals. But like you said, they have one of the best defensive units. In terms of Curacao, there's some drama with them going on behind the scenes. They had their manager. He resigned because his daughter was ill, and they brought in a different guy. His results were horrible in the recent international window. So thankfully, the daughter healed. He's back, but I still think this is just such a tough group. I really rate Curaçao's squad and their manager, Dick Advocat. Really cool side, but they got really unlucky in this draw. Maybe if they were in one of those easier groups, they could squeeze in a win, but this is definitely one of the tougher ones.
Also, no World Cup experience from them, right? While you have 3 other countries that have been around for a while, they know what's
Exactly.
coming, they know how to play the tournament. Ecuador got grouped in the last World Cup, even though it felt like they should have advanced. They were in a tough group, but now Group F. Okay, we have Japan topping the group with 7 points, Netherlands in second with 5, Sweden in third with 4, and Tunisia with 0. I personally don't rate Tunisia, so I'm okay with them getting 0 points in this World Cup. Sweden, a bit of a hit or miss right now. We talked about this before of how they're the hot team of the moment. I still think the Dutch have a better side than Sweden. In Japan, I originally had Japan with 9 points in this group for the first time in their history. I had them with 9 points, even though Sweden and the Dutch are very tough teams. But Japan right now, I don't know if they're confirmed out, but I think Minamino is very likely out. Endo is very questionable and probably won't be fully fit. And Mitoma, at the time of this recording, is also questionable with a muscle injury. I believe in Japan's depth. The drop off sometimes is not that big, and they're very cohesive squad, very good team, and they beat Germany and Spain last World Cup. But these are 3 big names for their team. I believe Endo's their captain. Minamino's one of the most talented players. Mitoma might be the most talented player with Japan right now. So 7 points because they're missing. Otherwise, I would have Japan with 9. Adrian.
Yeah, Japan is sort of the wild card that's going to kind of dictate what happens in this group, I think, because as you said, they can be incredibly strong and they're incredibly well coached. They've shown at previous World Cups that they can get really big results. So they're kind of the wild card as far as who will finish in the top 2, which they will be one of them. It's just a question of where they will finish. Netherlands, I definitely want to believe that they'll be. I actually enjoyed watching Netherlands at Euro 2024. I thought that they were really good, and it was it against Turkey who they had that like unbelievable. Was it Netherlands? No, that was Austria. That was Austria against Turkey that had an unbelievable loss. I think. Now I'm getting everything mixed up, but Netherlands were really enjoyable to watch, and I think that Koeman was sort of onto something at that time. So I could see them, but I just don't really trust their center back position a little bit for some reason. It causes me to worry. So I think that they could finish in second there. And Sweden is, as you said, they're kind of trending in the right direction now with how they went through those playoffs. I didn't think that they would actually make it through the European playoffs, but Victor Gyökeres is kind of catching form at the right time of the season. They are a team that seems to be very unified under Graham Potter, so they could cause issues, but I think that third is fine for them. Tunisia, I don't know as much about them, but or I don't know them as well as I did at the previous tournaments. Who knows? They could cause issues, but I think that where we have them is fine by me.
I don't see Tunisia doing that well. And Xavi Simons is also out for the Netherlands. I think that's another thing to add that definitely doesn't help them. Isaac, your take on Group F.
Honestly, I think that what's holding the Netherlands back is Koeman. I mean, obviously he's reach the semifinals of the Euros and everything, but I still think that run was not the best, not the most convincing displays. I think their only solid victory actually was against Romania. It was really neck and neck with Turkey in the quarterfinals. And in the groups, they finished third. So I definitely see them progressing from this group. I just don't see it the most smooth sailing. I feel like if the Netherlands had a more proper coach, I really rated Louis van Gaal from the last tournament. I thought he was a much better fit for the national team, and they did really, really well in that tournament. So I do think they're capable of a solid run, just not as much as maybe they could strive for under Koeman, and that's why I'm not confident, but fairly comfortable not putting them at the top. I think Japan, despite those injuries, like you said, they have so much depth. So I really don't want to rule them out fully. I think they have what it takes to go undefeated in this. Sweden might be a wild card because they are improving a lot now with Graham Potter in charge. And a lot of people aren't happy with their qualifier campaign, but I still think that they are building off of that momentum. They did really well in those playoffs, scoring a lot of goals. Just need to work on that defense a bit. But other than that, I think everything we called for in this group is fair. Maybe Tunisia can surprise, but they really weren't convincing in AFCON. They're one of the most frustrating teams to watch in that tournament.
Well, and they were handed one tough group, Tunisia, Japan, Sweden, and the Dutch. And let's go to the next groups because holy crap, this World Cup has a lot of groups, more than we've ever seen before, 12 groups. Group G, I'm going to go very quickly through this one. Belgium, Egypt, Iran, that at the time of this recording, Iran is supposed to play in the World Cup according to Infantino. You guys take that whatever way you'd like. Infantino says things and it doesn't necessarily happen. So right now we're going with Iran because he said they're going to play. So we're going to assume Iran will play in the World Cup. Belgium tops the group with 9 points. Egypt in second with 4, even though Mo Salah didn't have the best of seasons. Iran in third with 3 points, and New Zealand in last. This is another group that I think the results speak for themselves. I don't have much to add here. New Zealand is clearly the weakest team in my opinion. The fact that I could see them getting 0 points also, even though they pulled 1 here in our results with Egypt. And I think Iran and Egypt can go also either way. Obviously, based on our results, we have Egypt advancing in second. But if you flip those and have maybe Iran defeat Egypt or a draw there, I wouldn't be surprised. Adrian.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I'll admit, I'll come clean. I was the one that pushed for New Zealand to get a draw against Egypt. I just think that they have one little trick up their sleeve. Maybe I'm a little too romantic in thinking that Chris Wood will come back from injury and sort of get that result for them. So, like you said, they could very well be on 0, but this is sort of the vibes prediction that we had. But yeah, other than that, I think Belgium, as we showed, will do very, very well in this group.
Isaac.
I think that, well, we got 3 teams here that never made it to the knockouts at the World Cup before, and 2 that never got a win, Egypt and New Zealand. And that makes me think that this group is wide open for any of those 3 teams apart from Belgium. They should cruise through. We'll see what happens, but I think they should be comfortable in this. The rest, yeah, I think Egypt are due their first World Cup win. They had a really solid AFCON campaign, played with a lot of flair. Even though Salah isn't, at his best right now, that might be a Liverpool thing instead of a personal thing because he really was terrific at AFCON. And yeah, I don't want to fully rule out New Zealand either. Obviously, I do agree they are, even by the FIFA rankings, are the weakest team in the World Cup. But they might have a trick up their sleeve, like Adrian said. I think that they are capable of maybe stirring up this group one way or another.
And anyone watching this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe to Isaac's channel, Adrian's channel, and just keep in mind one thing. We're going to start disagreeing very soon. It's because these scores, we already had agreed upon them beforehand. Don't think we agree on everything. We already had our discussions. Because it's kind of weird, right? Why do you guys agree on everything? Well, don't worry. We're getting to the knockout rounds. Group H, also to me, very quick. This group is very top-heavy. I think there's a big gap between Spain, Uruguay, and then Cape Verde and Saudi Arabia. I don't care about how much Saudi Arabia is investing in their league. The national team is still not good enough, still not strong. They fired Hervé Renard like 2 months before the tournament or 3, whatever. a coach that is capable of pulling upsets, right? He was the one in charge when they pulled the upset against Argentina. I think Spain gets 9 points because also Uruguay, they're competitive but very inconsistent under Bielsa. They got trashed by the US and then they do well in the March camp. I think Spain gets 9 points. Spain's also one of the favorites to win the World Cup. Uruguay should be able to beat Saudi Arabia and Cape Verde. And then we had Cape Verde beating Saudi Arabia in the last game. I think that last game can go either way. But I think for the vibes, let's go with Cape Verde. I think it's 50-50, that one. Can be a draw. That one is very close. But Spain, Uruguay winning the other games, I don't see an upset happening like 2022 when Saudi Arabia pulled an upset against Argentina. I just don't see it. Adrian, your take on this group so we can move on. And Isaac, I think this one's a quick one.
Yeah, it's really quick. I think that this is one of the groups where the top two is quite obvious. Spain, even if Lamine Yamal is missing the first game or something due to recovering from his injury still, I still think that they go with 9 points. Uruguay, they have enough quality to beat both Cabo Verde and Saudi Arabia. Yeah, the one is maybe Cape Verde could sort of pull something off, like steal a draw against an underperforming Uruguay somehow, something like that. But other than that, them finishing in third and then Saudi Arabia in fourth is fine by me.
Isaac?
Yeah, the only thing in terms of those giants in this group, Uruguay have some internal issues with Bielsa and the players not really blending well. But that being said, I think it would be quite shocking if they do fall through against the underdogs in this group. Yeah, I think sacking Hervé Renard right before, I know the results weren't great, but it was a bold move. Now they got to make sure they do well under their new Greek manager. I don't know. I could see Cape Verde pulling off an upset, honestly, and getting their first World Cup win in their debut.
Would it even be an upset if they beat Saudi Arabia?
That's a good question.
Right? Like, I don't know if that's even considered an upset because we talk about Saudi Arabia. They're consistently making it to the World Cup. They were there last time too, but they're not. They don't do. It's just everyone just remembers them beating Argentina. People forget that they beat Argentina and they still managed to not get out of the group, even though they beat Argentina.
Exactly. They played like
So-
fairly well for the rest of the tournament, but still results speak for themselves.
Holy crap, we still got 4 groups to go. This thing never ends. Group I, also going to skim through it very quickly because we already put the results. France, Senegal, very tough game. That first game, we had it as a draw. Ultimately, we had France defeating Norway and Iraq, and we had Senegal beating Iraq and tying Norway. That's going to be a great game, that game also, Senegal and Norway. So France in first with 7 points. Senegal, the AFCON champions, the actual champions, right? Can we agree on that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Of course.
Morocco, the actual champions. Norway, Erling Haaland will play in the World Cup. That'll be cool. I'm looking forward to that. And poor Iraq placed in a very, very tough group. So France first, Senegal second, Norway in third, Iraq fourth. Adrian, do you have anything to add to this group?
Not really. Just I think that opener, the fact that it's an opener between France and Senegal was sort of what dictates the order of Senegal and Norway here, because assuming that they get a draw with France and Norway then loses to France. But other than that, Senegal and Norway could go either way, right? Very, very good teams. But yeah, I think Norway still get through in third.
Isaac.
I want to, give Iraq some benefit. I think they're going to put off some close fights from time to time, but at the end, good luck to them. This is the hardest draw you could have asked for.
Yeah, because we talked about like the US group. I don't see any team making it to the quarterfinals even. But this group, France is a title contender, probably top 2 with Spain among the favorites. Senegal and Norway are potential dark horse candidates to make it to a quarterfinals. And if the draw is right, the luck's right, semifinals. It wouldn't be too crazy for either one. So there you are. Good luck to Iraq. Group J with the current champions, Austria, Jordan, and Algeria. We had Argentina topping the group with 7 points. They ended up tying with Austria. That's a bit of an upset. Austria is still under Ralph Ragnick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Austria defeating Jordan, and ultimately Jordan finishing in third place because they would go on to defeat Algeria, and Algeria finishing in last. I think this is more or less what the group will look like. I think maybe Argentina pulls 9 points if they can beat Austria. I don't trust this Argentina side as much They're not going to lose any games like 2022, but you have a Messi that is still going to win you games, but it's not the same Messi as 4 years ago. DePaul, that was very important in the last World Cup, now in Major League Soccer, also not at the same level. I don't think Argentina is as strong as they were in 2022. And even in 2022, I think them winning the World Cup was a bit of an overachievement, as I didn't have them as like a top three favorite. I think it just caught fire in the right time, and Messi did Messi things, and Di Maria in the final. I think this is fair. 7 points for Argentina. Adrian?
Yeah, nothing really to add. I think that they'll drop one result, but yeah, there's going to be no curse of the World Cup winner for them as far as getting out in the group stage, especially with the third place things. It's very hard to get grouped now.
Expanded World Cup, right? The expanded
Yeah,
World
exactly, exactly. So yeah, I think that this is fine. Austria still strong. Algeria, I never know what you're going to get with Algeria. Really tough to say, but I think that Jordan have been playing quite well, and they'll get something at this tournament.
Isaac.
Yeah, I do feel bad putting Algeria at fourth. I thought this side had a lot more in them, but now they're going through a goalkeeper crisis with some injuries. Maybe Jordan can take advantage. They play some great counterattacking football. They have injuries of their own, but they've just had such a rise in the past few years. I mean, no one even expected them to qualify for the World Cup from their nation if you asked them a few years ago. And now they made it to two tournament finals, the Asian Cup and the Arab Cup. Obviously, this group is not easy, but given Algeria's shaky record in recent times, especially not in this last AFCON, but the two prior they got grouped, you never know. Something might happen here.
Okay, so let's advance to the last two groups finally, and then we get to the fun part of the video, which is the knockout rounds. Group K, Colombia in first, Portugal in second, Uzbekistan in third, and Congo in fourth. I think there's a lot of similarities in this group with the Spain one that we talked about. I think they're very top heavy with the top two. I would be shocked if Colombia and Portugal don't advance. That doesn't mean Congo and Uzbekistan are pushovers. It's just that Portugal, if they play at their best, they should be title contenders based on the players they have. And Colombia, if they play at their best, they are dark horse candidates to a quarterfinals, possibly a semifinals. I think, and this is my take, I think Colombia will top the group because I think Colombia and Portugal will beat the other two opponents and tie. But Colombia is a team that plays actually attractive soccer, tries to score goals, while Portugal is mainly a team that usually goes for the result. Like Portugal's okay with 1-0 wins, 2-1 wins. I can see Colombia beating Uzbekistan and Congo, scoring more goals than Portugal. So unless you think Portugal will defeat Colombia, I have Colombia advancing, and I think they'll tie. So the only way Portugal tops this group, in my opinion, is with 9 points. If it's 7 and it comes down to goal differential, I have Colombian first, which is what we agreed upon. Adrian, Portugal is another national team that you know very well, so take it from here on Group K.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. Portugal is a team that likes to come into a tournament with a lot of hype, with a lot of belief in their squad, but will consistently make things difficult for themselves and kind of underachieve and play sort of one-dimensional, just cross the ball into the box a million times for Ronaldo kind of football, which becomes very easy to defend. Now, if teams play open against them, then Portugal can torch them. But I think that even in the group stage, it's always feeling more difficult than it should be for them. And so I think that they'll struggle against Uzbekistan to score goals. I see like a penalty or something deciding that game. And against DR Congo, it's going to be something similar. Yeah, I think they get through, but Colombia topping this one, I can foresee that for sure.
Isaac.
I mean, I overall agree. Maybe I'd say there's a chance Colombia could slip to one of those underdogs, just like a draw in one match, maybe. But that's not me discrediting Colombia's insane football lately. That's more of me praising these underdogs. I do agree there's like a gap between first and second versus third and fourth, similar to Group H. But I definitely think Uzbekistan and DR Congo are really, really solid sides on their day. They might be capable of something. Maybe we did them a bit dirty given none of them wins. But yeah, at the end, probably both will be grouped in this fashion.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Group L with England in first with 7 points, Croatia in second with 7, Panama and Ghana third and fourth. Another group where the top two, it's very top two heavy. It would be kind of shocking to see England or Croatia not advance. Could they randomly like pull an upset here, like Ghana or Panama? Maybe pull like a draw against England or Croatia, maybe. But it's a group that's very top heavy. I can see England slipping in that first game, even though they have more quality than Croatia right now. They would technically be the favorites. I can see a draw. And then ultimately it'll come down to goal differential. And I just think England has a bit more quality than Croatia to maybe trash an opponent here and there, score a bit more goals. And it ends with all of them with 7 points. So it's similar to what I said in the previous group. I think the only way Croatia tops this group is if they get 9 points. If they can beat England the first round. Otherwise, I think when it comes to goal differential, England will have a better goal differential than Croatia. Adrian?
Yeah, not much to add. That's basically how I feel as well. Surprise, surprise, since we agreed on all of this prior. But this is probably, I will say, the first major tournament in a while where England is coming in with hype as a top contender, and I actually do agree. I think that they'll be very, very good. But like you said, I think they'll have one sort of slip up of a result, one game where they drop points. And if any team is going to do that, it's probably going to be Croatia, right? So, yeah, this looks good.
I just have to disagree with one thing. I feel like they hype England every World Cup.
No, they do. And I'm saying that this is the first time where I actually kind of agree that they could be one of the contenders.
Yeah, because England feels like when people are trying to like predict economic crisis and they just go, this time it's different with England. This time, and then it's the same crap. They come in with all that hype and they find a way to fall short. And we can't have England winning the World Cup in the United States in our 250th anniversary, too. There's that little detail right there. Isaac, anything to add? Croatia is a country you know extremely well as a Croatian American. Anything you want to add to this group?
I completely agree with what you said. I think it's possible. I don't want to say it's a likely outcome, but the only chance Croatia is going to top this group, or not only, but most guaranteed, is if we beat England. Like, England will most likely get results in the other matches. And we have what it takes to defeat England. We've done it before, obviously, but England in their opener, I don't know. England in group stage formats, they usually excel, so I don't want to doubt them too much. But in terms of the other sides, I'm honestly slightly more worried about Panama than Ghana. Panama, obviously weaker on paper, but they have a bit more structure lately. Ghana also just sacked their manager recently, Otto Addo, in the last international window. So maybe they can set up properly under Carlos Queiroz in time, but I am a bit more worried about Panama. Croatia usually do well against African sides. We have a decent record against them at World Cups, at least in recent times. So I'm not too worried about them. We'll see if I eat my words, but I think second is the most realistic for us, for sure.
Also, Ghana is missing, I believe, Salisu and Kudos.
Is Kudos confirmed out?
Or at least questionable. But
I knew it was questionable. Right? I wasn't sure about that yet. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Regardless, might not be 100%, right? That's not good for them. And yeah, Panama under Thomas Christensen has been much better as a team than when you look at their individual talent. So here are the third place teams that advanced: Norway, Scotland, Canada, Ivory Coast, Sweden, Paraguay, Iran, and South Korea. Jordan, Cape Verde, Panama, and Uzbekistan have been eliminated. Okay, these are the top 8 third place teams that advance. And now we can go to the fun part of this video, the knockout bracket. We get to the knockout bracket where hopefully we have a lot of interesting stories. So let's start the round of 32 here. On one side, we have your Germany, Paraguay, France, Sweden, Czech Republic, and Bosnia, Japan, and Morocco. Guys, Paraguay advanced, okay? Germany and Paraguay. I just don't see it. I don't see it in Paraguay. I don't see them having the quality up top, even though you're going to say you got Enciso, you got Miguel Miron. They got Mauricio now from Palmeiras, the Brazilian Paraguayan, the attacking midfielder. I don't see Germany getting knocked out by Paraguay. Is there anyone that disagrees? Because now we vote. Now we vote and we advance or not. We can start disagreeing now. We don't know the matchups. We're looking at it for the first time. My vote is for Germany advancing. Does anyone disagree?
No. Sorry, no. Paraguay.
No, yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Germany. France and Sweden, it's another one. If one team's going to knock out France, it has to be a giant. This team has too much quality, too much depth. The coach has been there since 2014, Didier Deschamps. He knows how to play this tournament. 2 consecutive finals. France might even be the first team since Brazil to go to 3 consecutive finals, right? Brazil did in 94. They won. They lost 98 like France. And then Brazil won 02. Anyone disagree with France and Sweden?
No.
No. But now, okay, now we start to get interesting matchups here, and we even have a Portugal-Croatia that I'm gonna love you guys fighting for it.
Oh
And
God.
remember, we all have one veto each. You can veto. You can veto, guys. You can veto.
What if we
Czech
both veto?
Republic and Bosnia. Czech Republic and Bosnia. This game is literally 50-50.
Yeah, two playoff winners.
Both advancing on penalties too in both of their matches in the playoffs.
I have Bosnia advancing on penalty shootouts. This team knocked out England. Sorry, not England, Italy. They didn't let Italy come to the World Cup. I give Bosnia the slight edge here, but literally, it's just an opinion. This game would be 50-50. Who do you have, Adrian?
I personally was thinking Czechia. I can just see them getting past this Bosnian side. But like you said, it's 50-50. As Isaac pointed out, they both come through thanks to penalties, etc. I personally am leaning towards Czechia. So you're the swing vote, Isaac.
No pressure.
Yeah, it's insanely 50-50. And I think Czechia were from my memory, they have never gotten knocked out on penalties in a major competition. I could be wrong on that, but so I really don't know, but I think I'm going to lean towards Bosnia.
Okay.
The fact that it's so close.
So 2-1 for Bosnia. I'm assuming Adrian's holding his veto. He's not going to veto this one.
No, I'm good with this.
Now we have Japan-Morocco. That is a crazy game right there. We have the dark horse of 2022 and a potential dark horse of 2026. I think Japan is due for a deeper run than in the past. Last time they should have. Dude, the Croatia game still pissed me off, Isaac. That game against Croatia. Croatia found a way to take it to penalties after Japan got the lead, and Croatia they did their specialty. Let's go to penalties, and I'm sending you home. And they did it. They knocked out Japan. It felt like that World Cup was the one that Japan was going to make it to the quarterfinals. They didn't. I think Japan will just out-talent Morocco. Believe it or not. We talked about how Morocco, they're coming into this World Cup a bit shaky despite being as good as they are. I also think the pressure will get to them. There's a difference between you come into the World Cup with very little expectations, and then in the next one, you were the semifinalists. There are big expectations. I have Japan knocking out Morocco. Adrian.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound like in this video that I'm too down on Morocco, but I do think that Japan is due for a big performance at the World Cup, and sort of out for redemption, sort of learning from their mistakes at the previous World Cup. Or, I mean, they weren't huge mistakes that they made exactly. But yeah, I think that Japan is going to be a special team in this World Cup, and they will get past Morocco.
Isaac, it's 2-1. You can give your vote, but the only way you get Morocco through is if you veto.
I'm not going to veto for Morocco. It's too 50-50 for me, and yeah, I would lean towards them, but I can't argue with Japan advancing. It's a really close one.
My main concern would be with Japan possibly facing a Morocco side that could just play a low block and try to counterattack, and Japan likes to hold the ball, play a high line. But I do think Japan is a good team to play against a low block because they're more of a technical team. They can disorganize the opponent with the ball, right? They're not really a pragmatic side. So I think Japan will adjust well to that, and I think they're going to knock out Morocco in this game. And so Adrian and I voted mainly Japan. Isaac on the fence with this one. Then we get a really big game here. Portugal versus Croatia. I'm not going to go first this time because I'm always giving my vote first, and I think it's not fair. This one, I'm going to throw this hot potato to Isaac because we've been letting him go last every time. Isaac, your beloved Croatia against supposed World Cup contenders Portugal and a Cristiano Ronaldo that never scored a knockout goal.
Okay. Honestly, I totally blanked out about the knockout placements. Had I known that we were going to face Portugal this soon, I would have probably fought for Portugal to get first in their group. This is not a side I want to face at all. Even with those facts you mentioned, Ronaldo never scoring a knockout goal and some of their disappointing performances prior, Portugal, like you said, are one of the World Cup contenders, even if they haven't won the World Cup before. And Croatia has a horrible record against them. I still have nightmares from Euro 2016. Perisic hitting the post And then Portugal getting the counterattack, Quaresma scoring in the 120th minute or so. It was one of the worst days of my life. Now, obviously, I want to believe in my national team, but facing Portugal this soon, I don't know. It sucks that we're facing them this soon because I wanted to boost them up a bit in this video. I can't knock on Portugal this early. I just can't. I hate to say it.
Adrian, do you agree? You have Portugal advancing?
I think that Croatia is just given how Portugal has performed in knockout matches recently, doing very poor. I think at Euro 2024, they went into shootouts against Slovenia and France. So they just have this difficulty of getting things over the line. And they play a little bit predictably. And I think that if it was, I think, yeah, what Isaac said, I can't really argue with. Portugal, for some reason, has a really good record against Croatia. I don't think they've lost a competitive match against Croatia. So I think that I am just slightly leaning towards Portugal, but I think that it will not be a very exciting game whatsoever.
To be honest, I don't think any Portugal game is going to be exciting. I hate to bash them. I think they have the quality to go far, possibly fight for the trophy. But Portugal just seems like they hate playing good soccer. They just want to win the game. Honestly, if you give them the option, hey, 4-0 win, or actually 4-3 win, exciting game, or just a tight 1-0 win, they'll always pick 1-0. I have Portugal advancing. I think they're a team that they have a bit more quality than Croatia right now. If it was 2018 Croatia, I actually have them beating Portugal.
Same.
Honestly,
Yeah.
even 2022. But Croatia hasn't fallen off a cliff like some people try to push that narrative. But I do think it's a bit of a weaker side than those two World Cups. Still ultra competitive. And honestly, in any given day, Portugal doesn't have a good game, Croatia will knock them out. But
I don't want to say Croatia got like way too weak, but yeah, like we said, their record against Portugal's poor, and Portugal's only looking better and better. Even if Ronaldo's not at his prime, you've got midfielders now playing for the same club, João Neves and Vitinha. That's going to be an incredible partnership. There's just too much going Portugal's way right now, I think, to rule them out this soon at least.
yeah, I'll have Portugal advancing. Now, Spain and Austria, it's probably one of those we're not going to disagree. If Spain's going to get knocked out of this World Cup, I have the same argument as France. It's going to have to be one of the giants. Good luck to Austria. I just don't see it, man. This is not where Spain's World Cup ends.
No way.
No.
Spain goes through.
Yeah, I agree. Totally.
Turkey and Canada. Adrian, go first. That's yours.
Oh, man. This is a game that I can see Canada winning, or I can see a result sort of getting away from them as well with this Turkish side, just with the quality that they have in the attack, and with Canada missing some important pieces in defense, like a Bombito, for example, and a Davy, although Davies does sometimes play in a more advanced role for Canada. But still, I think that I want to believe that Canada could do it, and maybe they would build some momentum playing at home, etc. And Turkey is a team that is difficult to trust in major tournaments, but oh man, am I talking myself into Canada advancing now? I don't know. I'm like flipping.
I mean, I'll
all
give
of a
you my
sudden.
opinion very soon, but I'll let you talk. I'll let you finish first.
I think that this one, I think that Canada would struggle against this Turkish side for some reason, just with all the injuries that we have, just with Jonathan David going a little bit cold. Kyle Larin is scoring goals, yes, but I think that they would struggle against Turkey to score goals. And then either Arda Güler or Yildiz or someone will provide some sort of magic to knock Canada out in a heartbreaking fashion.
Do you want me to go first, Isaac, or you want to go?
You can go first.
So I have Canada advancing. I know people are going to call me the Canadian hater and all that, but I think fair is fair. And I'm not a Canadian hater. I think they will advance. Ultimately, if there was when we looked at Canada, they advanced in third place. Okay, so looking at it that way, I would fully expect Canada to play a title contender. So this is literally one of the best draws you can get as a third place team. Turkey, you'll take it, right? Like you finish in third, you're going to face a top team, you get Turkey. I think they can nullify. Canada's a very physical team. They know how to press. They can counterattack. If Jesse Marsh adapts Plays a bit of a mid to low block, counterattacks on a 4-4-2 that he plays sometimes. I don't know exactly which formation he's been going with Canada, but we've seen that quite a bit. And they had that run in the Copa America with a little bit of the right luck. They have to stop Guler and Yildiz. Those are probably the two guys that can actually win Turkey this game. I think Canada advances. I think if that's the matchup, first of all, that's so lucky that you finish in third and you play Turkey, not Spain, not Argentina, like not France. You play Turkey. So I have Canada advancing. I think they would knock out Turkey.
I think on paper, Turkey are like for sure the favorites, but every time this national team has any sort of expectation, they're going to fumble. I think after that, Euro 2020 wave where they were written as the dark horses and they totally flopped, like the expectation was low. So now they've been on the rise again and they have so much great talent. So it's a 50-50 one for me, but I'm going to lean towards Turkey to advance.
So you both put Turkey.
Yeah.
Dude, I just don't want to use the veto on Canada, so I'll just take the L here, but I strongly disagree with this one. I do not think Turkey will go through. Anyhow, the last one is Belgium and South Korea. I know a lot of us don't trust South Korea, but to me, outside of the host nations, Belgium is the weakest pot one team, and I think this is where we'll see the major upset. I think led by Son, I
Wow.
think South Korea will knock out Belgium.
Yeah.
This will be probably the big upset. South Korea last World Cup, they were destroyed by Brazil in the knockout rounds, right? Belgium, the golden generation is done, right? They still have incredible players, and we saw that against the United States in the friendly. But if I were to pick an upset, which we haven't really picked an upset, I think this will be it. Because Turkey beating Canada or Canada beating Turkey is not an upset right there. I have South Korea knocking out Belgium.
I heavily disagree. I'm not gonna lie. I do want to see an upset at some point. I know we haven't really gone for many so far, but I was even thinking Korea might have to be one of the sides that have to get grouped. Like the fact that they're here and Belgium's golden generation, sure, it's gone, but there's a lot of other great talent, at least in the attack. Maybe the defense needs some work, but it's still not that bad as people make it
Who's
out
their
to
center
be.
forward? Openda?
What'd you say? Sorry, you glitched for me.
I said,
Yeah.
who's their center forward? Like they play Trossard up top, Openda. Who's their center forward? Like
I mean,
Belgium.
there's still talk about Lukaku coming back. He's been injured all season, so I'm assuming it would be him at the end. But
Remember him last World Cup?
yeah, that was a gift. Gift of a
So
performance,
look,
but
I'm just trying to convince at least one of you to vote for South Korea because I think you guys are overestimating Belgium. I think so. But Adrian,
maybe the next round, but not this soon. I'm sorry, not against Korea.
Yeah. I gotta agree with you, Zach here. I think that South Korea was a team that I was sort of hesitant as to where they would finish anyway. I'm sorry, Filippo. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I think that Belgium just have enough quality, not convincingly get past South Korea necessarily, but I think they'll do it in the end.
yeah, this is not one I'm willing to veto, but I am disappointed. And okay, so let's go to the other bracket now. Let's kill off the round of 32 on the other bracket, other side of the bracket, and then we'll go back to that one because then it'll be much quicker because we're going to be towards the end of it. Brazil and the Dutch, they face again in the World Cup. They love playing each other in knockout rounds. They played in 1994 where Brazil won. They played in 1998 where Brazil won. They played in 2010 where the Dutch won, and they face here. I'll let you go first on this one, Adrian. Brazil and the Dutch.
Although there's sort of like a lot of negativity around Brazil just off of their qualifying campaign, I think that under Ancelotti they will start to sort of unify and come together. And they aren't the most convincing squad that we've seen from Brazil in a long time, but I think that Ancelotti, just in sort of the head-to-head of the coaches, will be able to get Brazil past this Netherlands team because, like I said, I think there are some issues with this Netherlands team defensively, and I think that we'll see some sort of big performance, whether it's from a Vinny Jr., who has sort of a lot to prove after all of the sort of narrative surrounding him this season, or whomever it may be. I think that Brazil will get past the Netherlands here.
Isn't the Dutch defense also very slow?
Yeah, for the most part, yes. Especially with Van Dijk coming off of a not great season with Liverpool. So
Well, the
yeah,
end
I
of
think
event is quite quick, but he's been
yes.
at that Tottenham squad, so I
Yeah, Isaac, who do you have? Because then it just saves me time of not even needing the vote.
I 100% agree with Adrian. I like everything he said was he stole my words. I think it's going to be Brazil.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't want to be biased here too. I do think people are. I mean, Brazil, like in 2002, they barely qualified to the World Cup. They qualified in the last game, and they had like four different coaches throughout that cycle. Ultimately, getting Felipao or Scolari at the very last 12 months. I think that just like Ancelotti. Ancelotti is also a cup guy, right? He knows how to play knockout games, and he showed that with Real Madrid, where he would sometimes face a team like Man City with arguably more talented, but he would have the right plan and the right approach to win the game, which is ultimately what matters. So I think against the Dutch, if Brazil is to lose the World Cup, it's not going to be against the Dutch, and they're finally going to pull a win against a European team in the knockouts. It's been a while since 2002. It's been a
It has
long
been way
time.
too long.
Okay, now this is a big one here. Ecuador and Senegal. Senegal has way more firepower up top. Um, and I would argue Senegal is probably a little bit of a better team. I don't think that's too crazy to say. Ecuador has a much better defense, which for knockout rounds, Ancelotti even said this when he was interviewed. The winner of the World Cup is the one that concedes the least amount of goals. So between Ecuador and Senegal, I have Ecuador advancing. But this is one of those matchups that is tough, close to 50-50. Adrian.
Yeah. I think that I'm just going to go with sort of the experience of playing in big tournaments and navigating knockout stages and everything that Senegal has. And I'll stick with them. Again, I think, like you said, and I said earlier in the group stage, the defense is a huge part of sort of winning things for Ecuador. But I just think that the Senegal team, who actually has I think, decent results against teams outside of Africa, will be able to navigate past this Ecuador.
Isaac, you're the tiebreaker.
I agree with Adrian. It's going to be like 1-0, similar to that AFCON semifinal against Egypt for Senegal. They're going to squeeze in a late goal, I think. Ecuador's going to show their defensive qualities for most of the match, but they'll just have that one slip. Senegal is definitely the more well-balanced side overall. They have great players in every position. Sure, Ecuador's defense is elite, but I think Senegal's quality will take them further.
I almost used the veto. I'm going to hold it. It's too early, even though we're getting close towards the end. Mexico and Scotland. Isaac, go first here because we and Adrian have been going first.
Ooh, okay.
I think it's in Mexico, by the way. That first knockout is still in Mexico.
Yeah. I think I remember that as well because I think I had that matchup too in one of my earlier videos. Yeah, I'm gonna lean towards Mexico. That home advantage, I think their spirits are gonna be high, at least in the beginning. We already talked about how Scotland isn't great in major international tournaments as well. The fact that they make it to the knockouts is already an achievement for them. I mean, it could go either way, of course. Scotland aren't the worst side, but I think Mexico's got this one.
Yeah, I have Mexico too. I think this is now where the road ends for Mexico. I think it ends in the next round. That's what we're going to talk about in a second. And anyone that's following Mexico, make sure to watch out for the player Gilberto Moura, the 17-year-old. Their best player, by the way, at age 17. Adrian, anything to add? Mexico
No,
also?
no, I had
Yeah.
Mexico also. I'm going to believe in
Yeah.
the home push that they'll get.
So, Adrian, take over England and Norway. That's a good game right there, which honestly, I think it's much closer than people think.
Yeah, I think it is quite close, but I am going to sort of again use the same argument I used with Senegal, but I'm going to lean on England and their experience in playing in knockout matches and these sort of deep runs that they've been going on recently. Norway making their first World Cup in a very long time. A lot of players who obviously haven't played at this kind of stage. I think that England also just have the quality advantage over Norway, even though Norway is a very, very talented side. And Thomas Tuchel, he's kind of built. I do think it's overblown a little bit with people saying that he's built this reputation of being a tournament manager. He is, he has had some success in tournaments for sure with Chelsea, etc. But I think that while it won't be a blowout, I think that England do get past Norway.
I have England as well, Isaac. Do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, Norway's back line might be questionable in a match like this. I know they were able to cruise through against Italy, but Italy clearly have their own issues. I definitely have England advancing.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be shocked if an upset happens, but it would be an upset. Um, Same goes here. Argentina and Uruguay, guys. It is a derby, so it'll be a freaking like bar fight. The game essentially, and I do think Argentina will get a few cards here and there in Uruguay, but ultimately, I do not see this inconsistent Uruguayan side under Bielsa with a lot of internal issues. And also less talented than Argentina on paper. Argentina did top World Cup qualifying. I just don't see it. To me, Argentina advances. The current champions are not going to get knocked out by Uruguay.
Completely agree.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree as well.
we'll just advance with this one. USA and Egypt. Honestly, this is a very favorable matchup for the US. I couldn't have asked for better. They're advancing in second place, and they cross paths with Egypt. Out of the many teams that advanced out of the group stage, this was one of the teams that we didn't rate that highly. And even though I know one of you said that it's more of a Liverpool problem than a Salah problem, it's still not prime Mo Salah, right? I think we can all agree on that. I think this game specifically, the U.S. does win. I think the United States does advance. I'm pretty confident, actually. This more confident than even the group stage.
I don't want to knock Egypt too much. Like I definitely think they can put off a good fight, but it definitely is a favorable draw, all things considered, for the United States to get paired up this quickly with Egypt. Egypt are a really good team, but their World Cup pedigree isn't too strong, so I'll favor the USA.
Adrian?
Yeah, yeah, nothing to add there. I'm also leaning towards USA.
Switzerland and Iran, to me, congrats to Iran going through what they're going and playing the World Cup and advancing out of the group. But there's a big gap right there, right? Between the two teams. It would be a big ass upset if Iran can knock out Switzerland.
Yeah, Switzerland's a really difficult team to play against. They've shown in previous tournaments that they can put up some great results. They did so in qualifying as well. So I think that Switzerland getting through is the most likely outcome as well.
Any disagreement there, Isaac?
No, definitely not.
I think also Colombia, too. I don't think we're going to disagree. I don't see the Ivory Coast knocking out Colombia.
I mean, it's possible, but it's definitely not the favorable outcome.
Would it be an upset?
I think slightly, but
Yeah.
still, like Ivory Coast is a great team right now. Like they have some even few similarities with Colombia. Like they're a really exciting team to watch. They have great wingers, and they can be physical on their day. I used to praise their defense, but they did leak quite a lot of goals at AFCON. I don't know. It's to me, it's more of a toss up than it's made out to be. But Colombia should be the favorites.
Colombia made it to the Copa America final and went toe to toe with Argentina.
Yeah.
And their fans invaded the stadium. Let's not forget that too. Okay, now it's going to get quick here. We're going to get to halfway one, and let's go to round 16. Germany and France, Adrian.
I think this is where Germany will fall. I think that Germany will struggle a little bit in France. They're just way too good. Yeah, France for me to win this one.
I couldn't say anything different from that. I think there's a talent gap. France is too good, and don't be surprised if France makes it to another World Cup final. They're just too good. What about you, Isaac? Anything you disagree there?
Not at all. Germany definitely still kind of on that rebuild.
Now, Bosnia and Japan, I think this is where Japan gets their deep run. I think they knock out Bosnia. I think Bosnia will put up a fight. It's going to be a very tough game. I just think Japan will out-talent Bosnia.
Isaac, convince me.
I was waiting for you to talk. I think Bosnia is going to go through. I think they're going to give Japan the same Croatia treatment as last time. Penalties and they advance.
But Croatia had much more talent than Bosnia last time.
That's true, but Bosnia is a tough side to break down, and they have their talent themselves. They've got young wingers. They have a solid center back in the city, Muharemovic. Vasil, their goalkeeper, has saved St. Pauli many times. I know they're battling for relegation now, or to get out of relegation, but he's still saved the club on numerous occasions. I think Bosnia might be able to pull through.
Adrian?
I don't know. This is you guys have been convincing. I mean, I originally was leaning on Japan to make a deep run. I'm sorry, Zach. I'm going to stick with Japan. I think that Japan will just be shockingly good in this World Cup.
I think I got to use my veto here then.
There it is.
If
There
we
it
knock out
is.
Croatia this soon, I gotta show some support to Bosnia.
I am stunned that in our prediction vid, again, I can't go against the veto. He used it first. I am stunned that we got freaking Bosnia in the quarterfinals. Like, how is that actually possible? We have Japan out, we have Morocco out, we have Croatia, but Bosnia is in the quarterfinals.
I mean, look
with
at their
all things,
path.
it's not like the worst path when you think about it. I know Japan is definitely the favorites going into that match, but it's not like the most bizarre outcome, I think. Just based on what Bosnia have been able to do lately, they can squeeze in, I think, on penalties.
That could be Canada, Adrian, if they get second place. That could be Canada.
We'll see.
Okay, Portugal and Spain, the two neighboring countries, Adrian. What do you think will happen here?
The Iberian Derby. Portugal actually beat Spain recently in the Nations League final. They played quite, I wouldn't say well for the entire match, but they played fairly well against a Spain that has really been sort of dominant since winning Euro 2024. And Portugal does have a habit of sort of improving when they're playing against a better opposition, not always to the extent where they can actually beat them in within 90 minutes, because, you know, Portugal loves going to extra time in these big tournaments. I could see Portugal beating Spain. I could see it happening. It's going to be dependent on what sort of shape Lamine Yamal is in, because without him, I think that Portugal wins this match. With him, it's a little bit more close. You can call me a homer, but I'm going to go with Portugal on this one, on just getting past Spain.
Isaac, I'm just going to tell you right now, I also go with Portugal. I think Spain will be a big disappointment. Not big disappointment, not throughout the World Cup, but in this game, they'll lose to Portugal. Same way they lost in the Nations League final. I think Portugal will pull through against Spain. And you don't have a veto, Isaac. You can give your vote, but you already used it. So Portugal advances here. But what's your vote?
I'm happy I used my veto when I did. I think this one is definitely more 50-50. I mean, we just saw even the Nations League final, Portugal squeezed through. So Spain were my World Cup favorites, but if they're going to get knocked out to a side this early, I think Portugal isn't unrealistic. Like, I wouldn't even fight with you guys on it.
You can't. You lost your veto already.
I know. I'll take it though. You're mad I used it.
I was mad. You knocked out Japan early, but Turkey and Belgium now. So who wants to go? I don't have much to say. These are two teams I don't trust.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Adrian, Isaac, whoever wants to go.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, it kind of is a battle of which team do you trust the most or the least, I guess, in this case. And I think that Turkey, Belgium, I think that Belgium, with the firepower that they do have sort of on the wings and through the midfield, the Ketelara, for example, I think that Belgium could overcome this Turkish side. I think that Turkey at this point, because, you know, ignore the 3-0, I think it's going to be a squeak past Canada if they make it through. I think that they will just fall short against Belgium as well.
So you have you have Belgium advancing.
Yes.
And Isaac, do you have anything, or can I'm probably just going to go with what Adrian voted. I think in terms of talent, there's a bit more with Belgium. I don't trust both sides. You guys know that based on the Canada and the South Korea prediction. But between those two, I'll go with Belgium also.
I think Belgium are the slight favorites here, because Turkey as a unit sometimes, I mean, they have all the talent, but maybe they'll get ahead of themselves in that manner.
Now, before we move to the other side of the bracket, can we just get these two over with? I don't see a world where Belgium knocks out Portugal. I don't see a world where Bosnia knocks out France.
Okay, yeah. I'm done with the Bosnia praise. France is winning that.
Thank God. Anyone disagree with Portugal, Belgium? I just don't see it, man.
No. I think the further Portugal gets, the better they'll kind of start playing together as well.
Yeah, and they'll bench Ronaldo at some point. So let's go here real quick. Brazil and Senegal. I don't think Brazil loses to Senegal. I think regardless of who they play there, Ecuador or Senegal, I don't think that's a team that will knock them out under Ancelotti. Brazil's another one of those teams that, even though people have been very critical of them, I still think it's going to take like a top team to knock Brazil's Ancelotti out. I have Brazil advancing against Senegal.
I do too, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be one of those games where coming into it, people are going to say, "Oh, Senegal, this could happen. They could be the ones to do it." But ultimately, again, I'm going to lean on Ancelotti to get through on this one.
Yeah.
Previously, I was kind of leaning towards an upset on this. I think I went for one in one of my previous videos because I had the same matchup, but Brazil's Brazil at the end of the day. I just think Senegal are going to be the African side, if any, to have the deepest run in this competition. But yeah, Brazil probably are going to squeeze through.
Mexico and England. I think now we move to the games to the United States, but Mexico will have the home crowd. They sell out every game here in the US. It's pretty much like playing at home. It's kind of crazy because in terms of talent, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that England is the clear favorite here. But I think this game is a lot closer than people think. Mexico will probably understand that. And also keep in mind, Aguirre, unlike other Mexican coaches or coaches they've had, he is not ashamed of sitting back if he has to in a game, which would be the only way Mexico could win this game. Is there a scenario where Mexico makes history here? They finally make it to like a quarterfinal. Well, this is the quinto partido, but they get that extra win. They knock out England. Because these are two teams that very often disappoint. England usually disappoints and Mexico usually disappoints. Is there a scenario where this would be too crazy?
I wouldn't. I mean, it's not too crazy, but I do think that this England side will make it past Mexico. If it was a slightly stronger opposition, maybe I would buy into the England underperforming thing. But I do think that England coming into this just have way too strong of a squad. And I think that Tuchel is a coach that can sort of come up with a game plan to beat Mexico, even if they do sit deep.
Isaac.
Yeah, it would be scenes if England do lose this, but it's just too hard to doubt them at this stage. And yeah, if this were like Mexico 2014, maybe we could see something, but I think they're definitely not as good.
I guess we have England advancing because I want to say Mexico has a shot, and I believe they do. And it would be actually incredible if that happens, even though I'm not a Mexico national team fan. It would be incredible. But here we have to try to be as rational as possible. And that doesn't mean always picking the favorite, but I do think there's a big gap right there between those two in terms of talent. And England has proven they can make these deep runs, right? They made it in 2018 in the World Cup. Last World Cup quarterfinals, but they made it to the final of the Euro. So there's also that element, while Mexico can only make a deep run in the Gold Cup. That's all we see. In the Olympics, they do well in the Olympics. Argentina and the United States, despite my bias here against Argentina and for the U.S., if the U.S. and Argentina play each other in 100 games in the knockout rounds, Argentina wins 99. There's that one game that maybe Argentina gets an early red or a penalty for that the U.S. has a shot. So unless you believe it's one of those games, there is no way the United States is the team that retires Messi from the World Cup. Now, this could be a game that changes soccer in this country forever. If you imagine like the US like retiring Messi from the World Cup, it would be freaking insane. I'm sure we would see Donald Trump talking about it every 2 minutes if that crazy thing happened of Messi being retired from the World Cup by the US. But again, we have to be rational here. It's Argentina.
You don't think Pochettino can do it against his home country?
He couldn't do against Panama.
Yeah, I don't think he will either.
It's what I told you. It's like if it's one of those games, like out of 100, the U.S. wins one. Sure, it can happen. It's not like the U.S. has a 0% chance of winning. They have a 1% chance of winning. Anyone disagree? No, right?
Sorry, no way.
I just hope it's an honorable loss, like a 2-1. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't want to get trashed like the Copa America in 2016, where Argentina trashed the U.S. Something honorable, lose 2-1, make it tough, like Australia lost to Argentina in 2022. Colombia and Switzerland, very good matchup, and I would say it's 50-50. I personally have Colombia advancing. I think they're going to have home crowd advantage. I think the Colombians will travel like they did in the Copa America. They'll pack the stadium, and they have enough quality up top to punish Switzerland. I think also like the most talented Colombian players are a bit more talented than the most talented Swiss players. Um, and a few guys, Colombia has a weird thing. Like their main guys, they just show up for the national team, dude. Like James, Luis Diaz, they just show up. John Arias, Richard Rios. So Richard Rios, that Adrian knows well. I have Colombia advancing. You guys.
I'm kind of leaning towards Switzerland. I agree with you. It's really 50-50, but I think despite all that talent Colombia have, I think Switzerland over recent time have proven that they're more structured side. So if Adrian goes for Colombia, I definitely wouldn't complain, but my vote would be Switzerland.
Adrian?
I'm a big Switzerland believer, just because I've seen how much difficulty they've given even Portugal, what they did at Euro 2024 as well. They've eliminated France in the past as well. They're just a very difficult, well-organized team typically that I think they could nullify Colombia and then get goals from set pieces or what have you. So I will lean towards Switzerland as well.
I'll veto this one. I don't think Colombia loses to Switzerland on this one. Colombia will have gone already through one tough matchup against Portugal. Switzerland will not have been truly tested in the World Cup up until this game. Um, I have Colombia advance. So I use my veto. So only Adrian has a veto left. So let's just kill off the quarterfinals here and then the semifinals, and then we're done. These are big matchups here. Unlike the other side of the bracket where we had like France and Bosnia, and the other one was what? I forgot now, Portugal and Belgium. We had clear favorites. We have Brazil and England and Argentina and Colombia. Adrian, do you want to start Brazil and England? I don't want to start that one.
Yeah, I think that as much as I've been praising Brazil and as much as I've been praising England, keep you guys on your toes there. I'm going to go with England on this one because I just think that they will be a little bit more disciplined, and I think that this is where the quality of their squad will start to shine through. And as much firepower as Brazil may have, I think that this is England advancing here. Tuchel. I'm a Tuchel believer, I guess. All of a sudden, now I'm a tournament Tuchel believer. All of a sudden, so I think, yeah, I'm going to stick with England on this one. Sorry,
Isaac.
Yeah, although we said that Brazil would finally beat a UEFA side earlier against the Netherlands, I do think they'll still get knocked out to one just later into the tournament. So I'm going to favor England as well.
I would have voted Brazil. I think Brazil's a better defense than England, and I think they will be able to counterattack England. And England usually like 0-2, like they have a shot, but I think Brazil will be the favorites on this one. But again, I don't have a veto, and you guys voted, so England advances. And then you have Argentina and Colombia. I actually did a prediction on this, and I had Colombia knocking out Argentina. I think Colombia will knock out Argentina. This game is very close, guys, and we saw that in the Copa America final where the game could have gone either way. I know everyone's going to lean towards Argentina because of Messi and because it's Argentina. They've won 3 World Cups. They're the current champions. But we saw that in the Copa America final that these teams are very evenly matched, and it can go either way. It's much closer than people expect. I think Colombia will win, and they will be the biggest dark horse of this World Cup. But I mean, you guys vote.
I actually agree with you because I actually had Argentina. I think in one of my simulations, I had them out in the previous round. So I think that Argentina, I just don't believe in their back line, and I think that they have major issues in the fullback area, and I think that Colombia will be able to exploit that and end up winning against Argentina.
I think we hyped up Colombia too much in this video overall, but we put them in first, which like already threw me off. I forgot Portugal would have to play Croatia then. And most people, I remember like in every prediction, it was always Argentina versus Portugal at this stage. So like I didn't like have the time to process this matchup even, but still like Colombia making it this far and doing that well in the groups. I mean, it's possible. Like, of course, they're a dark horse contender amongst all the teams, but I would have backed Argentina. But
I mean, like everyone would have said the same about Morocco last World Cup. Them knocking out Spain, knocking out what's the name, Portugal. Everyone would have said the same.
It's true, but although they're a very exciting side and like a lot of their talent are shining right now, especially Lucho, it's still like not the most structured team. I think
They're
they
going to
are
be
so
playing at
strong. Their
home, Isaac.
weaknesses in the
They're going to be
defense.
playing at home, Isaac. You will see.
I know. I'm aware of that. Trust me. Like, I know Colombians will do whatever to get World Cup tickets. They don't care about the price. But yeah, I don't
And
know. I
then
would have
we
said
have,
Argentina, but okay.
yeah, you use your veto on Bosnia.
I know.
England and Colombia, that's where I think it would be the end of the road for the dark horse. If it was Brazil or England against Colombia, I would back one of those two to advance. And I have England. You guys agree with that? I mean, Isaac obviously does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do as well.
By
I
the
think
way,
it'd be close,
everyone,
though.
ignore the results on screen because I'm just picking the winners. I don't think the result matters in the knockout rounds. It's just whoever advances.
Yeah.
So we had France here. France and Portugal. I think this is the big one here. Who do you guys have advancing? You have another French final, a France in the final again?
Yeah, Portugal seems to struggle against France. In fact, I mean, I thought they played fairly well against France in Euro 2024. They certainly could have won that game from open play. Well, in the 90, ultimately losing in that shootout. So I think that Portugal is capable of defeating this French side. Do I think that they will actually do it? To go past Spain and then also past France is pretty crazy. But then France getting to 3 World Cup finals in a
I mean,
row.
Brazil did it. We talked about it, 94, 98, 02.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they just have such a good squad. Olise, even if Mbappe is not at full health, Olise, etc. I think that Portugal, as much as I want to believe, I think that France will somehow, some way get past them into the final.
I think so as well. Do you, Isaac?
I'm so torn about it. Like, genuinely, it's because I mean, Portugal had their moments against France as well. It was a long time ago, a decade ago now, but still, Euro 2016 final. All they need is like that one moment, like before, in extra time, even. But I think France is the safe pick, but Portugal still have what it takes.
Yeah, they could do it. Portugal could do it, but Portugal in these sort of parts of the tournament, I just lose a lot of faith in them, and they start to play negatively.
60-40 probably for France, like in terms of like favoritism.
Yeah, it's close.
I'll say that. That would put us in a final of third place Portugal, Colombia, and final France and England. I think if that's the final, I think France takes the World Cup again.
I really hope this isn't the final, but I agree. I really hope we're wrong on this, but France should beat England. I don't think England are going to win their second World Cup.
We'd have France in first, England second, Portugal, I would have them in third place with Ronaldo, his like farewell game. I would say they would pull it, and Colombia in fourth. Guys, this was a very long prediction. I apologize for keeping you guys here for this long. It's just that we kept talking, and it went by fast. Any final thoughts before we go? The World Cup starts very soon.
I'm excited. It's going to be a wild ride. Yeah, I'm gonna be. It's gonna be fun to look back on this video after everything actually happens, because with the third place sort of sliding placements, it's gonna be a completely different bracket, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're bound to get a bunch of stuff wrong, especially maybe my veto, but
especially Bosnia, especially Bosnia.
But yeah, no, the World Cup's always filled with surprises, so. Probably a team we totally underestimated is going to have that Bosnia or Colombia run. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, thank you very much for watching, everyone. I will put their links and handles in the description of this video, or maybe if it's a collab video, you guys will see their channels down below. Go subscribe. If you want a full-on World Cup coverage, these two are your guys. Obviously, I'm more niche towards the US, and on the other channel, I'm more niche towards Brazil. But if you want everything related to the World Cup, these are your guys. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.